Oli got the sack, it was overdue. Man, he loved this club, I can hear in his voice in his farewell interview. Oli got a social, we love you too, but with a poor league form, what we're supposed to do? Woo! 4-1 against Watford, fam, what we're supposed to do? Woo! Oli got the sack, it was overdue. Man, he loved this club, I can hear in his voice in his farewell interview. Oli got a social, we love you too, but with a poor league form, what we're supposed to do? Woo! 4-1 against Watford, fam, what we're supposed to do? Woo! Yo, this is the OT99 Banter Room where opinions are shared and smoke gets served. And today we're joined by Edwin, and we are going to talk about Manchester United's first Champions League game away from Oli, the new world. Well, not quite so, because he's still got the coaching staff leading the wheel, leading the bus, leading the L plate at Manchester United. But you know what? We saw a game where I didn't expect, where Manchester United got the victory. I did see some similarities in a sense where we were still pretty much open. It was easy to play through our team, get to our defense quite easily. But what I did see is Manchester United tried to implement some sort of structure where it was like a 4-2-3-1 going forward, and then it was a 4-4-2 off the ball. And probably that may have helped. It may not have helped. I don't know if that's something that Oli would have done if he was still here. Do you know what I mean? I think I read some reports said how Carrick and Mike Phelan and them wanted to implement a different system sooner, but they didn't get the chance to do it. And I think they wanted to play three at the back sooner. Whether that would have helped us, I don't know. But Edwin, what was your thoughts on yesterday's game, man? What was your thoughts of what you saw?
I think it was a must-win game, obviously for morale and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's still annoying, like, why did it have to take Solskjaer to duck before the players to play? So, like, as much as we blame Solskjaer, we've got to put some blame on the players. These are professionals getting paid weekly, trained. Like, you can't just all of a sudden listen to things. Like, but the difference yesterday, we actually looked like we had a structure.
Yeah.
You know, in possession, it was a 4-2-3-1. Out of possession defensively, it was 4-4-2. So, yeah, I think he set up the team well, made some changes, started Van der Beek, Bruno on the bench, Telles started, but that's only because Shaw was injured. But I think Telles should have started anyway because Shaw ain't been playing that well.
Donny?
Do you know what? Donny had an all right game. Obviously, he wasn't as good as the game before, but, you know, you can't put too much expectations on him. He done well. So yeah, a few changes. Martial, the only one that was a bit of a question mark was Martial, because he's not been playing well. He's just lost in the game. You actually won't know he's playing.
You won't know he's playing. When I was watching the game yesterday, I didn't see Sancho surprisingly until like the 28th minute when he whipped in a cross. And Martial, I just don't see him, bro. It's mad how he can play a whole 90 minutes and I don't see Martial, bro. What's going on in his head? Like, what's going on? Like, is it something that we don't know about? I don't know.
You know what it is? I just feel like he's one of them players that he's got all the talent, but his application is poor. Like he needs he's not one of them players that has self-motivation. I think he needs it from external, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think it was a good formation. Good.
Back to basics, innit? I guess.
Yeah, I think it was just it was a basic game. We didn't do anything well. Obviously there's glimpses of how we can play with Sancho's goal, the quick passing. You know, as much as we get on Fred, he had a good game yesterday. Two interceptions that led to the goals.
Bam, he definitely had a solid game. And you know what? Those positives, picking out what you said. So Fred, 2 interceptions that led to the goals. Also, I saw some good glimpses of Donny van der Beek and Sancho link up. And I think those two are similar type of guys that they like that. Sancho wants to feed off guys like that. And Donny also wants to feed off guys like Sancho, where they can do those quick, nimble passes. And then I saw glimpses of that as well. And Donny and Bruno Fernandes as well can also link in with that type of play. And when you talk about managers like the Ten Hag, that's the type of guys that he wants. That's the type of guys that he needs to implement his style of play. He needs guys like that with that quick tempo football. So that's what I saw. But you know what? Ultimately, overall, I would say yes, we got the victory. But what I wasn't too happy about was how open we were. And again, it raises the questions again that if we were up against a more clinical opposition, would we be sitting there? You know what I mean?
There's a point where me and you were talking, right? And it was like, to be honest, it came to half time and we should have been. Any other bigger team will be losing. You know what I mean? They had a lot of chances. Just that they were either shooting wide. De Gea made some good saves, but their finishing wasn't clinical. But the way they ripped our team apart it's too simple.
It's too simple. Like it reminds me of those days under Mourinho on that when David De Gea was our man of the match. And for us, when David De Gea is making all of these saves and he's the man of the match, it's never a good sign for our team because we've got too many world-class players or quality players for us to be looking at David De Gea being that guy that is the man of the match. Do you know what I mean? And it's just...
Yeah. But do you know what I went? Like, look, a win's a win. We're through to the Champions League, right?
Yeah.
But what I did was just, okay, how far are we from the other British teams, English teams, right? So I watched the Chelsea game after. And the way Chelsea set up is mad. Like, and number one, they work harder than our team. They're more proactive. They're not reactive. And like, no one gets caught slipping. So like, someone like Maguire, he could be like playing around with the ball, get caught, and he's in trouble. But with Chelsea, if a player does that, there's someone else backing him. Like everyone knows their role, and everyone's kind of set up. Like, okay, if something goes wrong, you know what I mean? It's like they've always got so many men behind the ball. And then when they're attacking, they've got so many men forward. But when we do it, it's just like the balance is unequal. So watching like Chelsea just made me realize we're far away. Like,
miles behind.
Pound for pound, like player-wise, I think the only thing they've got on us is their midfield. You know what I mean? But apart from that, like there's not much of a big difference on the team sheet. But when you watch them play, it's two different calibers, and they played like a second team yesterday.
Yeah.
So I think with Man United, they've got a lot of work to do. I think the game showed. I was telling you this as well. Like Man United, the players are very lazy off the ball. Like they're closing down. Even you know what I mean. Like even movement. When like how many times did we get the ball and we have to pass back because there's no movement ahead. You know.
And you know what? I think like, when you're talking about like the team and, you know, Chelsea having a better midfield than Man United, I think that's totally, they're gone with it. They're way better than our midfield. Do you know what I mean? And I think it is down to coaching and the structure and players getting, you know, specific instructions of what to do in and off possession. But then I do feel like with a good manager, right, they can afford to have like quality players, but also still carry certain guys because of the system that they implement. People just get with it. Do you know what I mean? I've seen managers where they don't have a star-studded squad, but they get results. And I feel like Manchester United is that team where, you know, on a good day, you can see Fred do well. You can see Scott McTominay do well.
It's down to last season, isn't it? Because if you look at Chelsea's setup, Chelsea was playing as bad as Man United or even worse under Lampard. You remember?
Yeah.
They were losing games they shouldn't have been losing. They weren't taking their chances defensively. They were literally like Man United. But look, they got a manager in. He couldn't make no signings. Because the way when he came in, like with the team he had, he was able to put them in a formation and they won the Champions League. Now, I mean, if we do get a good manager that's disciplined, then and it was a point I was saying, and remember I was saying this to you earlier in the day, and Ferdinand said we need a manager that the players are afraid of. Like with Tuchel, right? The players know they can't mess about with him. Like he in interviews he'll be saying, "Nah, this person." Look at Hudson-Odoi. How many times he said his attitude's not good? Now he's improving, but he's not afraid to call people out. Yeah. And I think there's a level of fear, but we don't have, like, no one was scared of Oli. They respected him, but they weren't scared, so they just done whatever they wanted. So the next manager has to really just come and just say, boom, this is it, and that's it. No playing around. So, but yesterday it was all right, innit? It was all right.
I mean, we got the win, but I still feel like it's paving over the cracks. I feel like Chelsea will be a good first. And it's a bit of too much to ask from Carrick, to be fair, to be getting a result against the best team in the league right now, or arguably in the world right about now. But it will be good to see how we fare against them since we've been getting battered left, right and centre. Let's just see how it goes. But do you know what? I do feel like the players they respect Oli in the terms of him being a legend and status and stuff. But I feel like if he knew what he was doing tactically, I feel like he would have gained a lot more respect and more disciplined performances and more consistent performances. But he just didn't know what he was doing, and it just didn't help with the players in terms of their belief, in terms of their morale or anything like that. So I do feel like the next manager, and that brings me on to my next topic, the next manager that comes in obviously needs to know what is on and have experience of managing top players and have experience of managing big clubs, experience of winning trophies, etc., etc., etc.
But
Now,
Pochettino doesn't have that experience. But look, this is another thing, yeah.
yeah,
So this is another problem. Like, this is the thing for me that's a bit like, So they want to get an interim manager, right?
yeah,
What's his name?
Ralph Ragnick.
Valverde.
Oh, Valverde.
They interviewed him,
Ernest,
right?
yeah, Ernest, yeah.
He's got quite an extensive thing in it. He was at Atletico Bilbao. He done well there. He was at he was in Olympiacos, I think. Then he was Barcelona manager, right?
Yeah, he was there. A couple of years ago.
He won the Liga twice.
Yeah.
Right. But the problem is like, I don't want us to get an interim manager. Why bring someone in that will change your philosophy for what? How many months is left in the season? Well, it ends in about May.
Like
so about
4 months
6,
or something like that.
like 4 or 5 months left. So you're gonna get an interim manager that's gonna install his. Then you're gonna wipe that all off, and then bring someone else. Like, it's too much transitioning. So okay, we're gonna have Ollie's way, Carrick's way short version, an interim manager, then a proper manager. It's a joke.
I think with the issue, I think the issue with Man United is such a tough one because Man United's got so much riding on this, and I know the Glazers are all looking at the numbers as well, thinking, damn, like if we don't make it in Champions League, sponsorship deals broken, X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean?
But they're through now, so it's like the question is,
yeah.
Don't get an interim manager. Why get an interim manager
for next season?
No, but if you want a manager, go for him because you've already wasted time. Man United waste money anyway, so even paying out Pochettino's contract doesn't really matter. Let's be honest. Like, it's not even like it's going to be like big crazy money. Like,
and we're suffering for lack of planning. We're suffering for lack of forward thinking.
When you look at it, what they should have just done in the beginning is Pochettino had this clause, right? They couldn't join another team or he'll lose his bonus. They should have just paid that bonus to him and let him lose the bonus from Tottenham. You know what I mean? Because now they've wasted. Yeah. Now, if they get him, they have to pay out the rest of his contract, even if they get him in summer. Then they still have to pay off Ollie.
Look, Ollie, I'm hearing he's been paid off about 7 million or 7.5 million. Poch, I'm hearing that his release clause is about 10 million. Do you know what I mean? They've extended and they're only like how long into they're not even months into their contract. I don't think the coaches that Ollie, and Woodward and them man are like sort of signed off for the coaches. So them man, you're gonna have to pay them off as well. So all in all, if you get Pochettino, we're talking about and get rid of the backroom staff or anything like that. We're talking about probably 20 plus million that we've just shelled out with forward thinking and forward planning and a bit of assertiveness. We could have saved, you know what I mean? And that could have gone into the club and improving the club, whether it be facilities or the youth system or whatever it is. But it just goes to show that Man United's planning for a club of this size and this magnitude. It's just bemusing to me. It's just like, how do you have a club like Manchester United, historically and at present, one of the biggest clubs in the world with one of the hugest fan bases in the world, one of the most decorated clubs in the world, such a high profile with this type of management? It's beyond me. It's crazy, but we are where we are in the setup. So obviously what we've been hearing was a lot of names linked to Manchester United in terms of management. It seems that what's going on now is that Manchester United's approaching 2 avenues. We're looking at a permanent manager options, and we're also looking at interim manager options, right? And then it seems like if our permanent option doesn't stick and it doesn't go ahead, then we're gonna go for interim. So right now,
you want an interim though? Do you want it like okay? I know everyone. Okay, you need to save the season, right? To an extent, right? We're through to the Champions League.
Save a season, bro.
But if it could save a season, but why get okay? So what happens if we get Valverde, right? He comes in, he levels the team out, and they're playing sick.
Yeah.
Do we keep him? You see what I mean?
See, the thing is,
because Man United, they're dumb enough. They're dumb enough to do this, right? To get him, pay him an amount, then already arrange a pre-contract with Poch. So even if Valverde does sick, what happens if Valverde does sick? Yeah, we don't get him. We get Poch, and Poch doesn't do well, and we just let Valverde go.
It's a mad one.
Then what? You know what I mean? So I feel like whoever they decide to get, if he does the job, keep him. Because the thing is, how many transitions can you go through?
I do feel like something is going to be agreed even with the interim manager. And what I'm thinking is like, I know what you're saying with the transition, but Manchester United are looking for a more permanent fix. So even if this person does well, Man United in the back of their mind are thinking, you know what, this happened with Oli. Everyone wanted us to give him the contract.
The question is, yeah, how many times have we got interim manager and it's not worked? We've done it with Giggs. After that, it didn't work. We've done it with Solskjaer, the more recent. We decided, oh, we'll give him the job. It didn't work. So forget all this interim stuff.
But it didn't work with Giggs. It didn't work with. I don't think it would have. Do you feel like it would have worked with Giggs? Still give like, hypothetically speaking, Giggs still had a contract.
You know the problem is because of Giggs' personal life, it wouldn't have worked out because he would have had to leave eventually because remember he went to Wales and then he caught that case.
Yeah. But you see, the thing is, Edwin, is that I'm thinking that one of the issues, right, with Giggs or whoever, it's just like we need a fresh start. We need to step away from. And Valverde, he's going to bring his, Spanish, foreign swag to the thing. But we need a fresh start with fresh cultures. We need to remove our cultures as well. So,
I know, but do you know why Valverde will be like, if he does well, will be good? Because he plays the Spanish way, possession.
Yeah.
We can't, like Scholes said this yesterday, right? When you watch us against Liverpool and Man City, the problem is we can't hold the ball. You realize we can't play more than 3 players,
and we can't. Right.
Like think about it. We actually can't play football. Mm-hmm. And what Man United do, they'll pass the ball to Lindelof or they'll pass to Maguire. Boom, spray a long ball.
Rashford will hug the line. Rashford hug the line. So let's get into it then. So look, Manchester United. We're looking at Ernest Valverde, like you mentioned. He's won a few La Liga titles. He's won Copa del Rey. I think he's won that a couple of times as well before being sacked in 2020. So obviously he plays that possession football and someone that I would say is quite up there in the list of options that's been given in terms of interim managers. I think the next one was Lucien Favre or something like that. He is a Swiss manager. So he again won like 2 league titles and a Swiss Cup with FC Zurich. So he's an option that's been touted. There's another option called Rudy Garcia. So he's a French manager. He's won the French Cup with Lille, but this was a while ago. This was back like maybe over 10 years ago. Do you know what I mean? So he's one of those guys that hasn't got that recent history of like winning, which is very important for what we need. And then we've got the Ralf Rangnick, who's a guy again that's been touted. In the reports, he's looking like a strong candidate, and he's a guy that's managed Schalke. He's won like German like cups. He's won like Austrian cups with Red Bull Salzburg. He's won a few trophies there, and you know what I mean. And he's a guy again that hasn't won recently in a very long time. I don't think he's been in management for a bit, but the last time he won a trophy is maybe like 7 to 10 years ago or something like that. So it's been a while. But out of all of the names that we've mentioned, I think the standout, person for me will be Valverde. And I know some of these guys play like 4-3-3, and I think Valverde plays a 4-3-3. But I think some of the guys that I mentioned, like Ralf Rangnick and stuff like that, I think some of them, no, not Ralf Rangnick. I think that what's his name? Paulo Francesco. Paulo Francesco. Yeah, he plays 3 at the back. So he's another guy that was linked. He's a Portuguese manager. He plays 3 at the back, 3-4, whatever. He plays that. He's managed at like Porto. He's managed at like Braga back in the days. He's won like a Super Cup, and he's won like endless trophies with like Shakhtar Donetsk as well. And he's recently won in 2019. But the only doubt with him is that he plays 3 at the back, and I don't really like that formation with Manchester United, as we saw. It didn't quite work out when Oli tried to implement it anyway. But he looks like, in terms of his credentials, he's spent a long time at Shakhtar Donetsk. He's got a strong history in the Portuguese league, and he's got endless trophies on his resume with winning. So for me, it will be a competition with Valverde, Fonseca, and Rangnick. But if I had to choose one, it'll be Valverde. What's your thoughts on what you just said? And are you still thinking about your interim manager will be Valverde and no one else? Or have you got other people in mind?
I think that's it. Like you got to look at Valverde, right? Out of all the ones that you mentioned, it's probably the most standout one. You know what I mean? In terms of, and we need someone with experience. You know what I mean? He's played Man United twice. Supposedly he's beat them twice, so he knows he's played. You know what I mean? He's played in the Champions League. He's won.
But question though, if Valverde plays possession football, do you feel like Valverde will be able to implement his style at Manchester United, who can't really play possession football, can't keep the ball, can't string passes together?
Okay, but you know what I said? Anything's possible. Look at Chelsea.
Yeah.
Chelsea have totally changed the way.
But they got ballers though. They got the players in the team. It's just that Lampard.
Ballers, yeah. But do you know what's crazy? Those ballers weren't existent before Tuchel come.
But like, we knew about Havertz. We knew about Pulisic. We've seen them.
I know.
Hudson.
But look at
Jorginho.
We've got Sancho, Martial, Rashford. We've got attacking players as well. You know what I mean?
But the possession football, the midfield though, we got Fred, Scott McTominay. Do you know what I mean?
You know what? It's the way you pack the midfield, because look, think about it, yeah? If we pack the midfield where it was just boom, even though like just for our options, yeah, if we pack the free midfield, right? Look at the way Barcelona used to play with Iniesta, Xavi, and then, you know what I mean? And Busquets, right? None of them are like crazy defensive, but they play enough touch football and closing down. Even if we played Fred, it's gonna sound mad here, but even if we played Fred, Pogba and Bruno, even if we played Fred, it's gonna be tough. But me personally, if they really packed that midfield, they could have Van der Beek in there, Pogba, Fred, like they could pack a free midfield and let some move about, like not.
So maybe like a 4-3-3. Are you thinking like a diamond or whatever it is?
Yeah, just pack the free like that, right? And the problem is like, all right, cool, we want Bruno to play higher up the pitch, but like, bro, if you just tell him to sit a bit, push forward when you can, push back, and extra bodies, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Remember, like, even when Barcelona used to like get attacked, like, because they were so in possession, the turnover was mad. Like, you didn't even realize that they didn't really have a proper DM that was like physically imposing in the midfield. You know what I mean?
I think with that setup, the issue is with Bruno Fernandes, in a sense where he needs a lot of work, because he gets his goals, he gets his assists, but he's one of those guys that is very, very high risk. He plays the killer ball, and more time he's losing that. So say you've got a flat three, right, of Pogba, do you know what I mean, Fred and Bruno. They'll do 1-2 intricate passes between themselves, and then as soon as Bruno gets that ball, he's looking for the runner and he's spraying it. And more time, we've lost possession. You know what I mean? Yeah, 1 out of 10 balls might make it, or 5 balls might make it, and it lands on a player's feet or head or whatever, to knock it on a goal or knock it on the opposition's net or whatever, or get a 1-on-1. But more time, Bruno's giving away the ball. So in actual fact, if you want someone that's playing that possession football and keeping it, onto when you see like a clear sort of pass, you're looking at probably someone like Donny van der Beek in that box. Do you know what I mean? With Pogba, and then maybe your Fred rather than Bruno.
But this is the thing, right? We're just analysing the games, right? We're not managers, right? And we don't have the experience, especially as a world class. If Man United decide to get a manager, they need to get a world class manager that makes these decisions. With the team that's there now, they have to make a decision of how to play, and that's what Tuchel did. Came in, certain man got dropped. Like people like Tammy, you know what I mean? Certain players didn't play. Look,
ruthless.
Tough decision. Like, you have to make the tough decisions and pick your best team and look at the team and say, this is the formation that will allow us to. Because think about it, yeah. When he started playing that formation, right, everyone was like, this Chelsea are bare defensive. When you watch Chelsea, you know how attacking they are?
Very. Well, that's what they were saying yesterday in the game, bro. They were saying like you can't call Chelsea a defensive team. And I remember under Conte as well, when he managed Chelsea, we were saying that same thing, that you can't really call them a defensive team because they were scoring goals, bro. And it's the same thing that we're seeing with... And
this is what I said to you yesterday. We may have missed out on Conte, because when we lost the Man City and Liverpool game, I think Conte was still available. And the problem is with Conte there's not a problem. What I like about Conte, he will come with no nonsense. Like he's not hearing anything. You know what I mean? Like if you're not playing well, you're not playing well. So
let's be honest though, like that Conte ain't lasting at Tottenham. He's gonna get backed first season. He's gonna get his money first season. Next season is where the trouble's gonna start. Next season when he's asking for 100 mil to do what he needs to do, and then you got Levy telling him nah, then it's gonna be an issue. Or
but
you know what I mean?
It's only an issue. I guarantee you, right? He's had a conversation. There's no way he signed that contract without having a conversation about what's going on, you know. But for me, the manager's going to be a tough one because no matter who comes in, it's I think Hargreaves said it yesterday. It's kind of like a dream mode for whoever comes in, because if you're a good tactical manager, you've got resources, you've got a good team already, then you know you're going to get backing of money come summer. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So for any...
The team's already, it's almost there.
All we need is a good, solid manager that's tactically sound. So the question is like...
Onto the manager then. What long-term manager are you wanting at Manchester United? What long-term manager are you thinking can be that guy to take us back to our glory days, or at least get us competing?
It's hard to say because, do you know why it's hard to say? If I had told you last season Tuchel was going to come in here, you've known him from being at PSG, you know him from being at Dortmund, right? If I told you he was going to come around and change Chelsea, and Chelsea were going to win the Champions League, and they will potentially could do a double and win the Prem, would you believe me? Because you would say, Tuchel had a Dortmund team, even though he done well with them, it's cool. But when he went to a team with all the resources, he was winning in the league that's simply theirs, but he struggled in the Champions League, right? Remember, he lost in the final, didn't he, the season before? Mm-hmm. So if I had told you that, you would have been like, nah. So it's hard.
I would have been like, yeah, solid coach. He's definitely going to be competing, but, you know, you've got
not to this level. Not to level. That's what I'm saying. So it's hard to say. It just depends how adaptable the person is, because Tuchel just came in and hit the ground running and he hasn't looked back. You know what I mean? He's got a way of playing and that's it. So we need that kind of no nonsense thing, but in the long run it's hard to say. But obviously the way they've set up, people like Valverde, and they're all short-term solutions. I think deep down they want Pochettino. They even wanted Pochettino when he left Tottenham. You know what I mean? So but the question is the only good thing is that Poch understands the Prem. That's the thing. And he done really well with a Tottenham team with lower resources. He had a good first team, don't get me wrong, but apart from that, they weren't giving him a lot to do in terms of resources to buy players. We made the Champions League final. Who they lose to? Man City, right?
Yeah, in the final. I think
they don't want to get to
the thing. To be honest, a lot of the players that, you know, Pochettino wanted at the club, Manchester United already have, so I don't think it's going to be like this whole big transition thing of I need a whole different crop of players. You know what I mean? So in terms of that whole rebuild thing, I feel like there's a benefit there with Poch managing the team. And I know that Poch isn't that elite because he's definitely below, I would say, you know, your Tuchels or possibly Behold. Some may argue, arguably, but, you know, under Pep and Klopp and stuff for sure. And then, you know, you look at him and you see, like you said, he done what he done with Tottenham. Wasn't really resourced. It's only when he left, you know, Tottenham started putting some money in the club, and he got to a final with Tottenham. And you look at Ajax and you look at Ten Hag, and everyone's like, you know, Ten Hag they want a fresh start. And I think because he's like that guy that plays really attacking football. Do you know what I mean? We saw him come back against Besiktas or whatever. Like today, I don't even know what the score ended in. Actually, let me check that before I'm made to eat my words.
The only thing I like about Poch though is he does play attacking football. He doesn't when you watch the Tottenham teams, they weren't really about long balls. They were just quick bam, 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 bam. You know what I mean? Attacking football. And that's what we miss.
And that's what we miss. And that's what I'm saying. I think with his teams as well, they get around the pitch. We're talking about our players, our team's lazy. I see Wan-Bissaka jogging back, nonchalant, especially even after he's lost the ball. I remember seeing guys like Rooney, even Scholes that can't tackle. When those guys lost the ball, it stirred something inside of them. They'll get so aggressive. They'll get angry. Like, how are you just going to take the ball off me? They'll run back. Do you know what I mean? And I see Wan-Bissaka just jogging back. I remember in pre-season when we first saw Wan-Bissaka, yeah, and I was watching all of those pre-season sort of highlights, and I see Wan-Bissaka trekking, sprinting from like the halfway line, running the defender down and slide tackling and getting the ball back. Man United has lost that sort of passion, and I feel like with Pochettino, his teams are known for running, and I know that at PSG it's not quite there. Do you know what I mean? But then it is sort of, if you look at the team that he's managing, you look at your Neymars, you look at your Mbappes, those type of guys, Messi's are not guys who typically known for, press at this age anyway, pressing for Messi, pressing and closing down. But I do feel like Man United's got a lot of young, fresh legs. You get me? They got the energetic team where they can do that. We've shown that we can outrun Leeds. We've shown that when we're on it, we can do it. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like someone like Poch can do that. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, I feel like we're missing out. He hasn't had no affiliation or ties with any of those Man Cities or your Liverpools. And I feel like we need...
Let's not forget what he done to Tottenham. Like he got Kane moving mad. Kane and Son. Remember, Kane and Kane. You know what I mean? Like he actually got them. Like Tottenham are playing really well. They play good football.
He's good with youth. Remember what he done at Southampton? Do you know what I mean? As well before he even went to. So he's good. Like he's good with youth, and I feel like I was saying,
he understands in it, because I think they said he was like under the tutelage of what's that Leeds manager called?
Oh, that I don't know. I know you took.
But whoever his name is.
Yeah. He is
like they're both Argentinian. I think.
Crouching tiger. Always crouching, fam. No, I know what you mean. I mean, yeah.
They just play. You know what? They just play attacking football. So, out of everything, look, I think we said this in the last thing. Yeah, if Zidane don't want to come, he don't want to come. Let's not force it. Like, it'll be nice for him to be there, but like you say, we don't want anyone here just to be, pocket watching.
And that's the same. I felt like that with Luis Enrique as well. I thought he will be a solid appointment as well. But again, it was just like when he got asked the question, that April Fool's Day.
But he said it from early. He don't want to come. He's ruled himself out. He's focusing on the World Cup. So if he does come, if he ends up coming, it's going to be dodgy, because you're like, this guy didn't want to come. So there's the money. You got
to have someone that, like, the thing about Poch, and this isn't going to make sure guarantee success by any means, but what you want is a manager that wants to come, like you said, is passionate about the job and puts in that finer detail and sort of like, when we're in a rut, because this guy is fully invested, do you know what I mean? You know that he's not sleeping at night whilst we're getting battered, do you know what I mean? Or if we've got a final to prepare for, if we've got a big game to prepare for, you know that he's not resting easy, that he's making sure that the team is whipped into shape, as opposed to other managers that don't really want to manage Man United from the outset and don't really care about our success or whether we lose or anything like that. And that's why I feel like Zidane over Enrique at this point.
You got to look at their lives and how happy they are, right? And how it affects them. Look, an example is Di Maria. When Di Maria wasn't happy at Man United, sadly his house got robbed and stuff like that. His wife wasn't happy. It affected his game. He weren't playing well. Someone like Zidane, there's rumours already that his wife doesn't want to come, so that's going to be unrest for him at home. Stress already. Poch wants to come back to the UK. I'm hearing his son plays for Watford under 23s or something like that, or the youth, and his wife's still here in the UK. He's staying in a hotel and things. So for him, even though he says he's happy, you can't really say he's not happy. So I think he actually wants to come. And he wanted to come for a while.
He done that typical thing of him saying he loves PSG, but at the same time, he really wants to come. And I think the intermediaries of Poch has made it very clear that he wants to come, and he wants to come as soon as possible. But he's not going to physically come out and say it himself. I think the only issue is that PSG, if they let him go with Poch, they want Zidane, who I think is more of their long-term target. But Zidane is not ready to leave and break his sort of holiday. He's pretty much comfortable where he is right now. Maybe we'll reevaluate next year, but at this given time, he doesn't want to manage PSG or any other club, and which gives me a bit more reassurance, because at this given time, I'm thinking, are we some mugs like Man United, where you're going to be like, no, giving us every excuse and then run off to PSG? But so it is looking like an interim, huh?
Yeah, it's France, isn't it? So, it's a French league. It will build him up because I think ultimately he wants a France job, isn't it? But it doesn't look like Deschamps going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But I mean, more long term, I mean, if you're looking at Brendan Rodgers, you're looking at Ten Hag, you're looking at Pochettino, who are the names that it looks like. Who are you leaning towards?
Okay, so I'll break it down. Ten Hag, right, the one from Ajax, right? Good manager, doing really well in the Champions League, yeah. But the Premiership is a whole different ball game. Like, you know what I mean? The personalities
Massive,
he has.
Different beast. Yeah.
You know what? He could do it. But
has he managed big quality? Has he managed superstars before? Has he managed a big?
But this is the problem, yeah. Our time as a club for experimenting is over. We've done that with the interims. We've done that with social club. We need someone that's solid now. Like, okay, and doing him. He's a gamble. And he's like, okay, cool. It could go well. It couldn't go well. So,
and it will give. You will need to give him. I think you'll need to give any manager time. Yeah, but I think you may need to give him more time.
And then you've got to also remember him settling into the country. Like, you know what I mean? There's all different things. So I wouldn't go for
bringing in his players as well, because I think he's going to want to flip quite a bit of the players.
Yeah.
He's going to want more technical players.
I wouldn't lean too much to him. Rodgers, nah. Like, he's not doing well right now. You know what I mean? We need someone that's solid, man. And let's be honest here, he's done really well at the clubs he's been at, but he fumbles the ball when the pressure gets on. You saw that at Liverpool. So even though he's a good man management, at man management, and he understands the game, I just think the job will be similar. It might end up being a bit too big for him.
But he managed Liverpool, and yeah, he did fumble the bag at the end, but he did get them playing really good football, man. He was leading the table for like 95% of that season, and then infamous slip, bro.
You know what it is? When it comes to the Premiership, yeah, it's not about how good you play, it's how consistent you can be.
Yeah.
Even with his Leicester team
that's the thing. So with Leicester, this is mad because I know it's a funny season, and he still has time to turn it around. But he has been back to back knocking on that door, and he's been fumbling the bag towards the end. And part of me was thinking, if he had a bigger team, because I've seen him at Liverpool and he also fumbled the bag, I've seen him still take Liverpool to heights that they hadn't reached.
Like right now, yeah, even though I said to you I don't want Poch here initially, when I look at everything, yeah,
he's probably the best fit.
He's the best fit. Like, for what's out there, like for someone that wants to come, because like you say, you just don't want players just there for the money, or even managers as well. Yeah. So Zidane, like, nah, he's already been said he don't want to manage this season, and he don't want to manage in a Premiership. So why go and before it's like, yeah, just throw him the money and change his mind. But that's not enough now, man. We've struggled too much as a team over the years. So he's out. Luis Enrique's ruled himself out.
Yeah. Do you know another thing though? I feel like Rodgers is the type of guy that would still keep the backroom staff of Michael Carrick, Mike Phelan, and then, man, if he came to manage, I don't know. I just feel like
I feel like Pochettino will get rid of all them, man.
Yeah, I feel like he will. I'm not 100 on Brendan.
Do you know what needs to happen as well? Whoever needs to come in here needs to get rid of Carrick, needs to get rid of Fletcher and all them man and Nicky. But let me tell you why, right? Because Man United are living too much in the past. This Man United way. So what they keep doing, they keep on employing people that used to work for the club. So you've got Carrick, you've got Solskjaer, you've got Nicky Butt, you've got Fletcher. Yeah, but that's good, but we need something different. So you need to just strip everything. If Pochettino comes, he needs to strip it and bring his team, people he's trust that he's probably come from Tottenham and everything, you know what I mean? So
Provisional Learner FC team, bro. Manchester United, Provisional Learning FC, bro. And Friends FC, bro.
But then you also got to remember, okay, if the manager that we get needs to bring the best out of our players, especially ones that are on the brink. So when you think about which ones we like, let's be honest, yeah, Rashford should be so much further than he is right now.
He should be like, we should be talked of as one of the best players in the world right about now.
Yeah. So we've got to have a manager that will be able to, and like you say, Pochettino has got a history of making. Let me. At one point, someone was looking like one of the best players in the world, or even in the Prem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Under his guidance at Tottenham, Harry Kane became one of the best strikers in the world.
Definitely.
Consistent.
Brought him through,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Brought him
So
through,
we
man.
need someone. We need someone like that. You know what I mean? So for me, I'll probably go with Poch. You know, when I really think about it, because there's no other option that's out there.
Yeah, that's the thing. I know that there's better managers out there, like Enrique, like potentially Zidane. Do you know what I mean? But
They don't want to come.
in terms of their willingness to come, they don't want to come, and we have to go with a guy who can still do a madness with our team. You know, we have to go with him, and I think that's Poch. You know, I mean, it'll be interesting to see when you've got a guy that knows what he's doing tactically, can get a tune out of players with a team like Man United. Do you know what I mean? Because we don't necessarily need the best manager in the world to win trophies. It'll be interesting to see, you know, whether he can win the Premier League. But I've seen, you know, like I said, you know, guys that was at the end of their career or guys that was sort of on a decline, like Mourinho and LVG, win FA Cup and win Europa League respectively. And I just feel like someone like Pochettino, he's still quite in his prime, doing his thing. He's about 11 points clear in League One at the minute, and he won a Charity Cup, Community Shield, their equivalent over there as well. I feel like he's stepping away from that. Well, let's see. He's not going to step away, or whether he does step away, we'll see.
And we'll also
see if he wins his first major trophy, innit?
We'll also see what he does
Champions
in Man
League.
City today. We'll see what he does in Man City today. You know what I mean? And see how he sets up the team, because.
But we need to see though. You know, Poch, he's beaten Man City with Tottenham. Do you remember? And then you remember when Pep was crying because he had that late disallowed goal. He was sort of crying and he got knocked out. And then he's also with PSG beating Pep again with PSG.
You've got to remember with Poch as well, right? I like the fact that he don't play free at the back. I don't want to see that at Man United.
Yeah.
I don't want to see us conforming to other teams.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, the person who changed your whole outlook on formations is Conte.
Yeah.
Conte was one of the first people that came with that three in the back in the Prem. It's been done before, but like, you know what I mean, at a big club.
Yeah. Right now,
everyone kind of followed suit. So at least with Poch, I know with Poch, he plays that 4. He plays that 4-2-3-1.
Right now he's playing a 4-3-3. I just checked the formation against City. The game started. It's a few minutes in. Yeah, he's got Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar up top, and he's got Idrissa Gueye, Herrera, and Paredes in midfield. I would have stuck in a Genie with Ronaldo if he was fit. If he is fit, I don't know. Is he on a bench? Is he on a bench? Yeah, Verratti and Gini's on the bench, so I would have played him because of his energetic levels. But Herrera is someone that can still hold down the fort, and Idrissa Gueye is obviously a super clamper, so we can see it's gonna be an interesting game, man. They're both playing 4-3-3, so do you know what I mean? But Edwin, final comments, man.
Parting comments. You know what? Let's say the team has been on a very poor streak, so I have to say, I don't want everything to be negative. They don't well to get the results, but at the same time, they've got to take major blame. Like, obviously, okay, this is the problem, right? Ollie's not a bad manager, yeah, but he's just not ready for the level that he gave. Like, he got fast tracked by buying Varane, by buying Ronaldo. If he hadn't bought those players that season, it would have given him one more season. Because if he had
increased the pressure for sure.
Because if he was stuck with the young guns, they could be like, and he got they'll be like, maybe we'll give him one. But when you're signing people like Varane, Ronaldo,
you're saying you're ready.
Like, and at that level, it's like we can't keep falling by it, and all the teams are doing well. So I think the problem is that he's at that level where he's not able to maintain or control a bunch of experienced world-class players. And that was his downfall. He done well with the teams before, but he never had the personalities like that. You know what I mean? So I think it was look. The good thing is, I hope yesterday's game is the kickstart for someone like Sancho, because he's had a difficult time, and like Ollie is playing him out of position. Like realistically, he played on the right yesterday. Got a bit of freedom, so he's drifting. Let him do that.
That's what we need as well. That's what we wanted, to fill the void in all right. Do you know what I mean?
And the thing is that I feel like with under Social was making him hog the lines and like let him drift. You know what I mean? He'll be on the right and stuff like that. So look, for me, I feel like for us to be successful, we need Sancho playing well, and we need Van der Beek as well playing because he has something different from all our midfielders.
He can actually keep the ball, play. He can pick a pass, possession football, quick tempo football, one-touch football. Does the triangle type things as well. Good link up. No, he's just the guy. He's a baller. He's a City type player. Do you know what I mean? He's one of them Barcelona type players.
You know, so even defensively, we didn't do that well. I'm not even going to go in on. I'm not going to even mention the captain's name, but the first time. But you know, I just hope whoever comes in, right, is not scared to drop certain players or change the way things are, because there's certain people that are coasting.
Facts.
Like, I'll give you some examples. Like Maguire's one.
You said his name. You had to say his name.
No. I had to say his name because even Bruno. Bruno's coasting because there's no. Under Social, there was no threat that he would get dropped.
Wan-Bissaka's coasting.
Because he knows that there's no. You know why? He's like, there's even the right back behind me is what the lot. Like, I'm going to start. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people. Even Shaw's coasting a bit. Like, he started the season well. He ended it well last season. Had a good season. So it's like, I hope that tough decisions are made to get the best out of players. Like, people actually fighting for positions. Because, for instance, look at Chelsea. Chilwell, my man was at the team for time. You know what I mean? Like, there's lots of players like
now
that
got
don't
an injury.
play.
Pissed. Yeah.
So I feel like, okay, result, we won, we're through. Now, the greatest signing we're going to make this season is going to be the manager. So it has to be done properly. It doesn't matter if we've got Ronaldo. It doesn't matter if we've got all these players. If the manager's not legit, we're in trouble. Because there's only so much a player could do on that pitch without the guidance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at least with one thing I did like about Carrick, at least he was on a touchline talking to the players, giving instructions.
You need to be out there in the gym. You need to be out there
like, do this, that. Social will just be on the bench sitting there with his leg crossed looking at the screen or whispering in someone's ear. So we need a manager that like actually manages the team. You know what I mean? It looked like the team was managing Solskjaer.
Facts. We saw Roberto Carlos go from Roberto Carlos to Roberto Carlos. It's stress, fam. But we are where we are. I mean, you know, we're moving now.
What's your closing thoughts?
My closing thoughts is, you know, like we're moving now. We've made a step to the right direction in getting rid of Oli. Do you know what I mean? You ain't never gonna be watching this, so I can say what I want to say. But it's one of those ones where you're a living ledge, but you know, it was too big for you at the end. You built the club up even to a greater level in terms of acquiring the personnel that applied way too much pressure on you. And it's the pressure that Manchester United need anyway to get back to where we should be and where we lacked, you know, all this time. So I'm happy that Ronaldo's here. I'm happy that Varane's here. I'm happy that he's gotten the players that we need. Anyway, Sancho, he's built up a team. And my thoughts with Oli was that, you know, I almost saw him as an interim. It never changed. I was like, you know what, it's great here. Oli at the wall, singing and doing all the dancing. I was like, Oli's going to win us titles and everything. But ultimately, I'm thinking that Oli did do his job. He tried his best for his level. He got us to where he overachieved. Let's be honest. He brought in a team, and I think he set us up. He's put us in a good position from when Fergie left. He's put us in a good position from when LVG and Mourinho left. It's in the best position it will ever be in at this game, like in the last, you know, God. So just give us a good manager. He's done his job, you know what I mean? He got rid of Sanchez and all of these history, you know, these man them that we forgot about, Fellaini and all of these man. Like, he's done a lot of the dirty work, the grinding. So I respect him for that. And I ain't got no lot of hatred towards Oli, man. Oli's a top G, and good riddance. But Man United, you know what? Onwards and upwards, man. Hopefully that we can salvage this season, bring in a manager like Poch, get him in now, and then let's start this. Or at least next season, he's already learned what he needs to learn, you get me? And like know who he needs to get rid of, knowing who he needs to keep, know what players he needs to, because even if this season's gone, just having him in now will make a massive difference for even next season. Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like a pre-season sort of friendly situation for him, but obviously highly pressured. But that's my final thoughts, man. So, bro, guys, Thanks for tuning in, for watching. When this goes live, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at 99 Banter, Instagram at OT99_Banter Room, and TikTok at OT99 Banter Room, all one word. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, and all that jazz. Peace.
Peace.